The meeting is being recorded and it's open to the public. Members of the public can gain access going to the Central Texas College website. First item on the agenda is opportunity for members of the public to suggest additional topics for discussion or to address topics of interest. Does anyone here would like to make any presentation? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is the Chancellor's update.
Okay. Catherine? Are you here? Here you are. Okay, Catherine Oser has a presentation. Dr. Oser, if you take the podium, and it's all yours.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning,
I really didn't expect to do this. I guess I'm excited, but I had shared with Dr. Ady and the dean that when my work was published, I was awarded a grant in 2018-2019 from the coordinating board, and just wanted to show you a little bit about what I did and where you can go see it because it's officially published in the new repository. What I did was I created 5 modules over the computing course, which is our intro course. It's a survey course, covers a little bit of everything. And we created some ungraded learning activities from resources on the web. We have YouTube, there's several tutorials. I wrote content for them to read to replace the textbook. And then we had a graded section where they do discussion boards, homework. They have a practical project to prepare for their assessment, and then they do an assessment. And we just added group projects, which I'm pleased to say my advisory committee just told me 5 minutes ago that is very needed in our industry. So overall, the students have been doing really well in the course. There's been absolutely no cost to them whatsoever. They just dive right in on day one and start their work, and everything's available to them. We ran our first courses in fall 2018. I've had to do a report roughly every quarter or so to the Higher Education Board on success measures and so forth. But just recently in January, August, and then May, we've revised the assignments a little bit as things change in computers and just as we see little tweaks that need to be made in the class. Our first full content revision is going on right now. I am in the midst of upgrading like Office 2016 to Office 2019 and so on and so forth. So I'm excited to deploy that in January. And a little data to show you what we did from fall 2018 to fall 2020. We had 74 sections of the course worldwide, 1,497 students, and the savings, as you can see, was quite large on behalf of the students for the materials that they no longer have to buy. So I'm really excited that this is going forward. I'm happy that we were able to do this, and I'm looking forward to doing another course like this. And there's a link where you can go and check it out if you'd like. Any questions?
I'd like to thank Dr. Oser for her efforts and OERs, and that's one of the things that we've been trying for the last 4 years to get all of our faculty to do, is to create OERs for their courses and in the program areas. So perhaps her sharing this with her colleagues will help us get there and get to the end of this so that we can provide these kinds of resources to our students. In essence, what does it do? Well, it eliminates the use or the need for a textbook per se for every student to have their own textbook that might cost anywhere from $100 to $400 for a book for a single course. And so by doing this, and it allows them to have access to everything that's available through the internet that they can have access to. So anyway, thank you again, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Good job.
Thanks. That's my report, sir.
That's it, huh? Okay. Our next item is the Geotechnical service contract. Mr. Armstrong.
Good afternoon. I am presenting on the RFQ 21-002 for geotechnical services The college has a contract usually for geotechnical services. The current agreement was with Terracon. It expired in October of 2020. We typically use the geotechnical services on major renovation projects throughout campus. We have none going on this year, but it's always good to have somebody under contract in case something were to come up. In accordance with the procurement regulations for professional services, a firm was selected using a two-step process, which is in accordance with the Texas purchasing statute. Step one was the evaluation and ranking of proposals based upon competence and qualifications, and then the second was a negotiation of a fair and reasonable price. Evaluation committee was put together. We evaluated 7 proposals. I'm not going to go over the list of the companies that had submitted. They have been typical companies that have presented and submitted proposals in the past. Based upon the list, we narrowed it down, and 3 vendors were identified: Kleinfelder, Terracon, and Fugro. We did further interviews for each of these particular companies, and Kleinfelder was selected as the most qualified. I will say Kleinfelder, before the current contract with Terracon, Kleinfelder was the geotechnical services contractor that we had in place for a number of years. Total expenditures for the geotechnical services are estimated to be about $50,000 a year, but this is really just based upon the contracts that, or the capital projects that we have in place going forward. So with that, the administration recommends the contract be awarded to Kleinfelder for the purchase of geotechnical services from December 1st through November 30th of next year. There will also be 4 one-year option periods with that. I can answer any questions if there.
You may have said it, and I didn't hear you, but is there a cost if we don't use their services for them to be on retainer?
No. The only expenses that we would have is if we actually engage them, and we certainly won't need them on all capital projects, but if there was a project that we would need some type of field exploration, some type of borings or laboratory testing of materials or something, that's when there would be a cost.
And I see also they're from Killeen, so we're using local companies to do local work in our area.
Yes, their headquarters is actually in California, but they have a local office here. And that's one of the things that in the past that the board has always expressed an interest. If we can use local companies within this area, it's always preferred. And so it was great to see that they are in this area and that they were selected as the best value contractor.
That's very good. Thanks.
Any other questions, Mr. Harmson? Thank you, sir. The next item on the agenda is the UV lighting and vendor contract. And again, Mr. Harmson.
Yes, we issued an RFP 21-004 for the installation of UV light emitters. With this proposal, there were 4 responses. One was considered an incomplete bid submission, so they were not considered as a part of the evaluation process. Many of you were here when we did the infrastructure project. We actually had UV lighting as a part of the infrastructure project to go throughout all the buildings. But because of the cost, we decided to do some value engineering, and only 9 of the buildings were continued with. So utilizing the opportunity to utilize some of the CARES Act dollars, we would be looking at installing UV lighting in the rest of the buildings throughout campus. There are a number of benefits to using this as a part of overall disinfection, keeping indoor air quality in check. As a part of the evaluation, a committee was established, just like on the RFQ. We had a common set of criteria that was used, and then RK Bass came out as the best value vendor. I will also note, just like Kleinfelder, RK Bass is out of Parker Heights, so they're a local company as well, which is always a good thing to see. Projected cost estimates are about $132,000. RK Bass's bid was $110,000. I usually will include a little bit of contingency in that, just in case there are some unforeseen installation costs. The other thing that I will go ahead and point out is there is a significant price difference between the 3 contractors. Normally, this would be of concern. In this particular case, it is not. RK Bass was the one who did the original UV light installation during the infrastructure project. The majority of the work is going to be electrical in nature. The other companies are mechanical contractors, and I would expect that they would be a little bit more expensive only because they were going to have to use an electrical contractor or a lighting vendor to go ahead and do the installation. So with that, administration recommends that a contract be awarded to RK Bass for the installation of the UV light emitters, not to exceed $132,000. And we will be using CARES Act dollars for this installation.
Any questions of Mr. Harmon? Thank you, sir. Our next item is recommending topics for upcoming agenda items or announcements. While you're thinking about that, I'd like to ask Mr. Barton if he would give us a quick update if we have anything on the audit that we need to know about before next month.
I think all is going well. Yeah, I think we're pretty much on schedule. I think all was going well, and we're pretty much on schedule, and I don't know anything that could pop up that would, derail the report coming out when we had planned to.
No areas of concern right now?
Haven't heard anything from them, and we don't have anything.
Just want to keep track of it. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody have any recommended topics for additional discussion next time?
I wanted to ask, we were asking last month about the email situation with logging in and stuff. Remember when we were talking about that?
Yes, and I had a discussion with Ms. Carter about that, and Dr. Carter rather, and supposedly they're working on it, but that's my trouble this morning trying to get in here was because that thing kept popping up saying the message,
Yeah.
you know.
That's why I got
Yes,
this.
and I don't know how to defeat that, so I'm not sure how we're going to get it fixed, but it's got to be fixed one way or the other, and it's just irritating because you can't open them. I can't open this iPad without that message coming up, and it resurfaces itself about 10 times before it lets me finally look at what's on the screen.
I can fix it for you.
Okay?
It won't, you won't like the outcome of it. But I have nothing else.
Yeah. I don't see anybody from IT here this morning. So.
No, they're not.
I'll get somebody,
They're not here.
get somebody up here.
I talked to them yesterday. I had issues. I'm still having issues logging in. It's slow, and there's slowness in answering emails and pulling things down. And they said yes, that's going on pretty much system wide. So they're working it, and it's an IT issue. I can't give you any more answers than that. So they're aware of it.
I know they're aware of it. 'Cause I've talked to them over the past year, but
Yeah.
we don't making any progress. That bothers me a little bit. Anybody else have any topics they want to talk about? We've got one item that will come up, I guess, on Thursday with the foundation. The foundation is looking at rewriting their charter, their operating procedures. And one of the things that they're concerned about is having the board, us, in ultimate control over their operation. In other words, we approve all the people that come up for volunteers, if you would, that come up and ask to be on the foundation board. And they're looking at that as an overreach, but it's been that way ever since I've been here. And some of the people who are bringing this up were the ones who wrote the initial document, so that might come up. You may want to think about that. And their solution that they're proposing is that the two members who are appointed to that board from the trustees be given the authority by the board to speak for the whole board and approve anybody who volunteers to be on the foundation board by that vote of two people. Again, I don't know the legalities of that. I don't know if that makes any sense to you all, but you can think about it, and when we come up for discussion and give you a heads up and let you know that these are some of the things that they're concerned about. Did I-
Is there any background on why they're concerned? Have we turned down somebody that upset them?
I think it's just a lag of time between the time they identify somebody and then they go to their board to get it approved, and then it has to come to our board. That's my take on it, and of course the other take is, well, Dr. Anderson helped pin that whole thing, and he's on that board, so I tease him all the time that, you
Well, as I
wrote it. so-
recall, we took, the original charter was made up based on what other ones were doing.
Right,
Right.
And that seemed to be the
Yeah.
norm, at least at the time we set it up.
it was.
I think a little deeper, if you dig down a little bit deeper, you'll find that Dr. Anderson, being on the foundation board, is now concerned because of the word autonomous. Somewhere within the document, I don't remember exactly where it is, it says that the foundation board is an autonomous organization.
Right.
I guess that can be construed different ways. But basically, if you look at the mission statement, the foundation board only exists to support Central Texas College. So, as an independent organization, if it wanted to stand alone, I think that they would have to have their own bank account, they would have to have their own,
Their own funding, revenue.
yeah,
Pay for
they'd
those.
have to stand alone. They couldn't have any support from the college itself, that, like heat, light, office space, personnel. I mean, if you're a really autonomous organization, you're by yourself. And that to me is a no-win situation, because then the administrative cost of running the foundation would be very costly. And so that's my problem with charities. I look at a charity on how much they give back to the community, not how many employees they have. And so that's the bone of difference right now between me and Dr. Anderson is what does autonomous mean, and what do we really need to do to help the students and help the college. I mean, that's the bottom line. We don't need a foundation to hiring people and have more employees and that kind of stuff, I don't think. But you all need to think about that, and if you've got any ideas, you're always welcome to come to the foundation board meetings and sit in. It's open to the public. And the next one is this coming Thursday.
At 12 o'clock, I believe.
I believe it's at noon, yes.
12 o'clock here, in this room. So, please come.
Any other discussions or recommendations for additional topics? Seeing none, we do not have an executive session necessary, and we will have the next workshop scheduled for Tuesday, December the 15th, here in this room at 11 o'clock.
Yes.
And with that, we stand adjourned. The next meeting is at 1 o'clock.